Hey there, so this is a walkthrough on the entities and attributes features. So when you're referring to understanding how you can expand the data fields that are involved with a specific step, for instance, you can see I can click on this button and it will show me all of the data fields, or what we call attributes, that are tied to this specific step here. So the way that you set this up is actually in the tool canvas, because data fields are tied to systems. And those systems, if I were to come to Clay, for instance, let me click on this database icon at the top right, you'll see that I have something called an entity. And what an entity does, or what an entity represents, is some object. In the case of Clay, every new table is really a new entity, because every new table within Clay has a set of rows which represent the fields that make up the attributes of that entity. And so that's the nomenclature that we use within Puzzle. So you come into tools, you come into your specific Clay item here, which represents the entire tool. If you don't see a Clay item here, then you just come to search tools, type in Clay, type in or click add, and it'll add it to the canvas. And then you'll be able to come to this tool sidebar and click the database icon. You can do this on any of the tools, right? So ADIO will also have a database tab. Slack will have a database tab. You name it. All of these tool things here will have a database tab, which means you can add entities, and you can see that I have a few entities that are built out here. The name of the entity would be the name of the board or the thing that's happening, for instance. So you could do something like enrich email. I don't know, maybe this is like a table that you have that you're using in a collection of other kind of clay books. And within the specific entity, you click on this arrow and you click add attribute. And this is where you can add all of your data that you'll then connect over to the specific step. So let's say enrich email, we have like a waterfall of some sort that does like a check on the first email provider, the second email provider, you name it. I'm just putting in dummy data in, second email provider. Third, you get it. And you can actually designate what type of data field this is. For us, this is going to be like a lookup field, because we're looking up data in some database. Okay, so now that you've added those two attributes to this entity, if you come back over to the workflow canvas, and maybe we want to go to this ABM HubSpot flow here, you can see we already have 10 of these added. These 10 live on the HubSpot contact entity. But let's go ahead and, click Clearbit, for instance. Maybe we would want we'll type in first email provider. You'll see once that's added here, you can then click this thing and it'll expand it here. It doesn't make so much sense. I would personally add all of them to Clay, because these actions in the tables themselves exist in Clay, but you could also add, one attribute to Clearbit in your tool canvas, right? So if you came over here, you added Clearbit, looks like we already have it, come over here and you could say, well, in Clearbit, there's this concept of a contact, and in Clearbit, they have an email, and maybe they have an ID or something like that. ID. And you don't have to set these things here, but it's best practice too, just for documentation's sake. And then if you pop back over here, instead of adding your Clay one, you would actually come here and add email Clearbit contact. And then you would go ahead and be able to click on that thing, and you could say, okay, this specific waterfall step is referencing the data field email from the Clearbit contact entity. So that's pretty much how all of the nomenclature fits together. What you're building out is entities and attributes, which represents the data model behind specific technologies, so that you can come back over to the workflow canvas and understand how your data moves across systems, so that for this one, for instance, when leads mention company on LinkedIn, Trigify will go ahead and, trigger a Clay line item, which takes these 3 Trigify data points and puts them into Clay. It will enrich the person, it will enrich the company here, and then it will go ahead and enroll in Log Growth Machine. The cool thing about this feature here in this icon is that you can expand multiple attributes that are related to multiple steps at the same time. So if you're creating a walkthrough of how a specific process works, you can show people how the data flows and how data is enriched across the process, which makes it super easy because we know that any automated process, all of it comes down to how data is flowing through the system. So I hope this helps, and feel free to distribute this video as you wish. Cheers.